Hey, how's it going, guys? Welcome back to another video. It's George. If you live in LA or at least somewhere close around the area, have you taken a closer look in the conditions that the freeways are in? Well, if you haven't, this video might come to you as a surprise. Now, before we get started, there's actually a couple things I like to clarify. The first being that I know I received many comments on my previous video saying that I wasn't pointing out or speaking about more serious problems that LA is having, and well, that is because I already have done so. On my third to last video, I talked about a very huge problem that LA is having right now, and I even left links to it down below in the description box, as well as this one. Secondly, even though I'm going against the rules that all these politics have going on with both the state and the city, doesn't mean I am on Team Red. That's not what I've been trying to prove with none of my past videos. I simply like to explain and show how things are going and looking in both LA and California, you know, just the true reality of things. And I'll get to my third reason at the end of this video. Alright, just like my two previous videos, right, I basically took a drive around LA. More specifically, as some may already know, freeways that are mainly located near downtown LA, alright? So that's gonna be the main focus. Because if I recorded every little part of LA freeways, this video will be longer than it should be. Right off the bat, if you live in LA or California, you should already know this, but for the ones who don't, downtown LA has pretty much two sides to it. One being where everything is completely destroyed in dirty paint and is filled with many homeless people, as you will see in the links I left in the description of this video. And the second being where all the high class, more wealthy people are at, right? Well, at least where a lot of them used to be at, near the Staples Center, the Wilshire Grand Tower, the Convention Center, etc. And these are the type of highways we people drive around those places. So from this angle, you can clearly see all the luxurious buildings of LA, and then we have huge broken freeway pieces starting to come apart by the day. This is the Freeway 10, where cars go 60 to 70 or even more miles per hour. And I know what a lot of you watching this might be saying right now, because it's what the ones who are okay with everything would say. Oh well, it's just a couple pieces that have been torn apart, no big deal. Oh well, that's not a problem at all, it can easily be fixed. Then if it can easily be fixed, why isn't it being done? Think about this for a quick second. We are still being told till this day that LA is gonna be struck by a massive earthquake. We don't know when, because there isn't anything that can give us a specific time or date or even location. And with these freeways looking like this, I hardly doubt there isn't going to be any sort of disaster. If freeways in other states and countries that are brand new or have been built to last for years have easily been destroyed with massive earthquakes, imagine the ones here in this city. Not to mention the fact that LA has the worst traffic ever. Traffic here is a bloody nightmare. Imagine being stuck in traffic feet above on these freeways if that earthquake was to happen soon. Now I want to show you guys this report. This was some time ago. This was back in 1994, but it certainly doesn't mean it cannot happen again. This wasn't specifically in downtown LA or near there, but it was still here in California. This happened in the early morning of January 17, 1994, an earthquake with a magnitude of 6.7. 6.7 struck Southern California, which is now considered one of the most devastating natural disasters in US history, leaving 57 people dead and 9,000 injured. Now let that sink in for a moment. Let's slowly think about that for a quick second. This was back in 94. We're talking about a time when California was nothing to what it is today. By everything that has changed since then, I mean everything has changed. One of them being the population of people during that time was far, far lower. 30 million in California during that year. Now we're up to nearly 40 million in just this state. Imagine how many more people can die or get injured by simply not building new or more secured roads and freeways. And again, this is simply one of the very few issues this city is having. Everything around LA is just slowly being ignored and slowly becoming a waste. You take a look on how LA is now compared to how it was 30, 20, or even 10 years ago, you wouldn't recognize this city. You take a look at the side of the freeways, where you will see nice green growing grass, colored flowers, as to where now everything is simply just dried up, empty. You see freeway signs being completely destroyed by graffiti to the point where you can't even read where you're going. Imagine at night, and some people have the nerve to call this type of graffiti quote-unquote culture. How LA has always been like this. Alright, let me tell you, I've been living here for a good 16 years. To many, it might not sound like a long time, but you can see far more than enough things change in 16 years. About 10 years ago, or at least around that time period, some days at specific times during the night, cars weren't allowed to get on freeways. Again, there were certain times, days, and locations where it would be closed, but that is because many city workers during the time were cleaning, making sure the road was nice and clear. You know, making sure there were no tires lying around the side or any food waste, etc. And as the years went by, all that just started to disappear. I think I mentioned this before, but there was actually a time where if a person committed some type of criminal activity, instead of doing all this time in prison, they were actually given a chance to clean their record. They were actually put on duty, whether that being repainting where there's graffiti, cleaning up the streets, highways, etc. All that for a good month or more, depending on the time that they were given. But again, all those laws just went away. Laws and rules that actually helped the city look and be better. But if we're being honest, you can't really blame the people who live here for the city looking and being the way it is today. But you can very much blame both the mayor of LA, Eric Garcetti, and most of all the government of California, Gavin Newsom, because Eric Garcetti just follows along to what Newsom says and does. It's really sad when these guys throw away millions, even trillions of dollars away to simply dumb ideas that don't even work at the end or benefit nobody but themselves and other trash millionaires. But for some reason, giving money or paying workers to build a better city, a more safer city, is too much to ask for, or simply hurts their pockets. Why does it hurt their pockets? Because that's how they want to see LA and California. Everything has to be their way. And we just have to obey the rules or any garbage news reports give about them, like CNN and a couple others. All I ask for you guys to do is some deep research on these clowns, like seriously, because many people nowadays, they only stick with only one thing, and that's only things that they listen or see on the media or television. And what a lot of you guys have even touched on, and what I've also made a video on, how LA is filled with homeless people. California has the most out of every state in the US. Worst part being that it's only spreading by the day, and knowing that Garcetti and Newsom are still in power is a huge problem. I don't know any person that's okay with the state being like this except for these two or any other politician that follows along with them. Now, to start closing this video off and clarifying my third reason I stated at the beginning, even though I'm stating and pointing out all these things about LA as well as my last two videos before this one, I love this state and city, okay? California, Los Angeles, and everyone on God's green earth who lives here isn't the problem. It's these governments and politics who are ruining both the city and the state. Okay, that goes for anybody who simply can't understand that. I wouldn't be living here if I didn't consider LA my home. I wouldn't be living here if I had no hope for anybody that lives in LA. The only way we can get back on track in California is by first kicking Eric Garcetti and Gavin Newsom out of office. And one easy way to do that is by spreading the word out to other people. Or even if you're watching this video, you can simply drop it a thumbs up. That way, YouTube can recommend this content to another person who might very well find this information useful. Because the more people find out information like this, the more chance we have to making California a far better state than what it is right now. And if you found this video useful or at least interesting, consider subscribing and turn on the bell notification, because my upcoming video can very well be a wake-up call for you. With that being said, thank you guys for taking the time and sticking till the end of this video, and I will see you all in my next one. Peace.